slow parenting family from across the globe. Welcome to another interesting episode of Slow Parenting program on Nostalgia Media. My name is Richie Adewusi. Welcome. Today on this program, your special program on parenting, we're going to be talking about one of the building blocks of parenting that every home, every family, every couple, well, group of adults do really need. If you haven't included that particular building block in your relationship building with your children, um, it's never too late. It's just that you might just need to work harder at it if you didn't start early. But like they say, never too late to get started. Okay? So, here, today we're talking about that particular issue that was popping up in almost every of our episodes. Boundaries. Yes. Today we're going to talk about boundaries in parenting, the importance of boundary setting in parenting, in bonding, in building relationship, mutually beneficial relationship between our children and ourselves. And then, of course, by extension, between our children and their future partners and society. Because it wouldn't just be it wouldn't just be about setting boundaries between you and your children. Once they get to understand the importance of setting boundaries, um, it becomes easier for them to be able to manage their relationships with other people, schoolmates, neighborhood friends, church friends, colleagues at work, and ultimately their own partners, and then their own children. Okay, so one thing to bear in mind as we get started is that boundaries are not walls. They're not to be created to divide, to keep apart parents, children, partners, you know, individuals who are in a relationship. But not boundaries are actually supposed to be bridges. If the architecture is properly thought out and executed, the execution of the design is carried out according to how it's supposed to come out. And how exactly do we mean by how um, the issue of setting boundaries? Today, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We are talking here first and foremost about boundaries in the home, between yourself and children, between ourselves and our children. Okay? So Junior wants some snack close to bedtime or even after bedtime. And then Junior is okay, you get your stress, like what let me just give him, let me rest. Really? Junior will do it again tomorrow. And then we'll go from after bedtime snack. A lot of other crazier things as Junior goes. You can take that to the bank. He's trying it. But then what works? What do we suggest to you? What do we cancel? What do we advise that you? First, number one, agree on boundaries in your family setting, in your relationship setting. In this case, this slow parenting, we're talking about within your parenting trust in your relationship with your children. Agree on boundaries. And what do I mean by agree on boundaries? Don't tell your children you can't do this, you don't do this, if you do this, this will happen. That's one way, but is that the best way? No. Discuss the issues that are important to individuals, no matter how little the individual members of the family. Even if they can't talk yet, well, the mom is there, can be the spokesperson for that baby at the time when the baby gets to talk. Look, that conference is not a once and for all conference. You will keep renew it. You will keep, you know, they have salt one, salt two, and maybe pepper one. No, okay, there was no pepper. Now, you will still have that your boundary setting, one boundary setting, because as the children grow up, their understanding and interrogation processes and, if you like, cravings about some issues would also change. So you need to revisit your issues again according to their understanding, their ages. Your culture don't change, your tradition don't change, your family values don't change. Your family status might change, okay? But again, how you present them remain how you present them. But in accordance with the understanding of everyone that is supposed to be governed by those boundaries. If there are going to be any objection, let it be at the point of setting those boundaries. And we don't suggest you say no, no. I've said that it's final. Okay? Let individual family members have their say. Clarify, good things to vote. Yeah, it won't diminish you. It would only increase, you know, the respect and the bridge building process between yourself and your children as parents. Certain boundaries set you out as marks you out as being approachable. Okay, being understanding, and not being authoritarian. Most important, it will give you peace of mind because um when when you have agreed on do's and don'ts, and then you've also set, if you like, consequences and rewards for the do's and don'ts. And individual family members understand that. So when individual family members run foul of any of the boundaries, they know. They know. And because they know, and also because you have also agreed on what should happen or what would happen should anyone break any of the boundaries, it wouldn't be that you just manufactured some draconian law to punish a particular person. No. But that's what we are. John, no, no, no. We all agree. John is John is speechless. So would probably have to take his medicine as a man, as it were. And if he's married, same thing. Okay? So setting boundaries that are mutually constructed, mutually agreed upon, and having backing consequences and rewards attached to the boundaries sets a family on a path of peace. Well, peaceful coexistence, as it were. Peaceful relationship. Because they say where there's no law, there's no crime. So your boundaries that you set in your home with your children, not for your children. No, it's not for your children, it's with your children. Becomes a guide and it affects you too. You're not setting, that's why it's not for your, it's with your children. So the boundaries you're setting, you are involved. You have a role to play. You do not. So that's when it now becomes important that we do not go about the do as I say, another side do thing. Because you would have become the first person to break the rule, the boundary. And of course, the children will be watching to see what's going to happen. So if you show them that if you break rules, nothing will happen, well, maybe you shift into the second gear, which would be to shout them down, to yell, to scream. You're not getting that. You might think you are for the time being, but at some point, someone will point it out to you, especially when they get older. But that, well, I used to be then. And then you feel insulted, you feel disrespected, and then some other things, unpleasant statements, actions might follow, which will not be helpful to anyone. But when every family member involved follows and obeys the rule, in this case, the boundaries that you all mutually agreed upon, any family member breaking would not feel singled out or disfavored. You know I've done something wrong. So if you've done something right, about as actually when growing up, for instance, I remember that we agreed. Usually, what would happen is, okay, I was okay. We agreed on some Bible. I'm a Christian, but we agreed on some Bible passages. When you do something that we agreed you should not do, what did Bible say I should do? Which book of the Bible? Go and bring the Bible. Go and bring the Bible. I said, okay, read. But usually, by the time the reading happens, by the time we go through the readings and all of that, the individual who is so well broken the rule would understand he has broken the rule. Well, it becomes your prerogative to decide whether you still want to discipline or not discipline. In most cases, there's nothing that happened because, okay, what did you learn? You learned something. The important thing is to learn, okay, well, I did something wrong. What should happen? I shouldn't do it. Then what needs to happen going forward? I won't do it again. Fine. Because corporal punishments, if you ask those who I know, experts, corporal, it hardens children at some point. So they don't, it's okay. What's going to happen? Came in, fine. The child is ready for the king. Has it learned anything? Has the child learned anything? Maybe not. Most likely not. But when boundaries continue to play the role of the bridge that is supposed to be in your bonding, in your relationship with your children, even when they are broken, and the individual who understands what have broken the rule, this is what needs to happen to me. At that point, in most cases, that individual is sober. It's when there's no remorse, the soberness, and all of that, that, well, you can go ahead and apply. But then, we always say, apply, let the consequences that not agreed on. But again, there are times when you see that there's no need, this person has learned, and you move on. But when it now becomes a recurring, decimal in that person's behavior, of course you would apply, you know, um, what you have agreed as consequences. Also, the other siblings are watching to see what's going to happen. And then you don't have a home, you don't have orderliness in your home. Okay? I think I'm told that we have some uh, community members that can are making contribution. It's okay. One member here says, "What do you do when your child flat out refuses to agree on any limits? Wow. Do you still build the boundary together, or is there any point where you just decide?" Eh, what I understand from this question here is you decided to build the bridge after the water has overflown the banks, meaning the child has grown up. We're saying start early, even from when that child is suckling the mother, even from when that child begins to hold things scroll the father. No, don't do that. Okay? If you do that, it's gonna hurt you. Or if you do that, you know, communicate at that point. The child can respond, can say, no, I don't agree or I agree at that point. And that's why I said earlier that you need to revisit that conference as the children grow up. As they grow up and are able to talk for themselves, you sit the same way you have your family prayer time, have your dinner time, have your breakfast or lunch time. Call a meeting. We're going to discuss our family boundaries. But Daddy, we talked about it that time. Well, Paul could not speak for himself the last time we had the discussion. Now Paul can speak for himself. That becomes a reason for having that discussion again. And the grown-up children that could speak for themselves the last time you had that discussion would understand. Okay? And if they said no, I will tell him, no, Paul said no, I want to hear. Good. So you said everybody had to and you revisit it again. So if you're saying your child, okay, flat out refuses to agree on any limits, from what time? It's not likely that a child with whom you had started agreeing on how things should be done or how things should not be done from a toddler age or stage will suddenly turn, well, in life, there are such individuals that, like I always say on this program, that would choose to turn left when everybody is turning right. That's a different story. Because such individuals, there's really nothing you do, nothing, but pray for them. Yeah, that will work. But I don't think that that's who this individual is. What I understand from this contribution of this question is that this parent probably started the boundary setting thing late or started by handing down laws. We say discuss, discuss, discuss. Agree, agree, agree. Negotiate even at that point of discussing. Negotiate. Don't say because you said it, this is okay. What do you suggest? What would you prefer? Okay. Sorry. Well, uh we grew up counting the number of cane strokes we'll get on with his hips. I'm going to talk from that perspective. Okay. So don't worry. For those of you listening to me say, why would you be talking about killing children? Well, good luck, but no good luck. Okay, so you said, okay, if you do this, you are going to get 2 strokes of the cane. And the child said, oh, that's too much. What did I do now? Why? Okay, what do you suggest? Even if he says half stroke, if there's anything like half stroke, okay, he has agreed on a consequence. There's an agreement. And then it would have been arrived at mutually. That's the issue. It's not about the weight of the disciplinary measure. It's about that everybody buys into it. It's just a control mechanism to make family members behave themselves. It might not really need to use it at any point in time. Like we have shown in the course of even this program, the child understands I did this wrong. Okay, what should happen? I shouldn't do it again. Really? Okay, go. Okay. Respect what you just said now. I won't do it again. You don't need to bring the cane. But then when it now becomes habitual. You now need to do something to correct the habits now. Okay, the reoccurrence of that. So, is it, or is there a point where you just decided, oh, there's no point? You decided earlier. Maybe that's what the child is revolting against. If you agreed, okay, even at that point, let's even say, because we say it's never too late to start. When you are starting late, still negotiate, still agree, okay? Don't go, I own this house. The child did not apply to be born into your family. Yourself and your wife, or yourself and your partner decided you needed to have a child. And you brought that child into your family. However, okay? So it's not a case we own this one. Mm, there's a funny story. There's a funny story someone told me once. He said, well, the dad, a father went, this home, I paid the bill, I I feed, I own this house. And they said, the son said, okay, daddy, I think you should come and go to your father's house. This is my father's house. It sounds funny, but the child is right. You own, okay, you own. You brought them into the family. So if there's anybody who should leave the home and go elsewhere, it's you. Go back to your own father's house. So for that not to happen, you need to agree on boundaries. Agree on what should happen should people, any family member, break those boundaries. And by extension, as your children begin to have relationship with other people, they've got to learn the processes of, you know, space, agreeing, negotiating, building confidence, about speaking out logically, intelligently, not talking for the sake of talking. Okay. Another family member here says, can giving too much choice to a child backfire and make them think they are in charge? Where is the balance? You've already answered your question. Can giving, is it too much choices? There are choices, and in your own words, there is too much choices. I say there are, and there is. There are choices, and there is too much choices. Where did those choices grow from? I think it was last episode or the episode before the last one, we talked about needs and wants. What the choices you are giving the child, is it about what the child needs or what the child wants? The child needs accommodation, needs clothing, needs feeding, needs good health, needs good environment, needs good relationship with you, needs good education. But the child wants phone, iPhone 30, hmm? laptop, tablets, palm top, desktop. Those are the child. He wants those. Doesn't need them. I'm not gonna tell you a funny story. It's funny because one of my granddaughters said once, she's in high school by the way, so it's not. It's a early teens now. It was a laptop. I said to the parents, okay, fine, give her a consent letter. Produce a consent letter saying you permit her to own a laptop and that you will supervise the use of the laptop. Guess who's protesting about the consent letter? It's not the child, it's the parents. So, when you say too much, inadvertently, we show our children how to revolt without knowing that that's what we're doing. Okay? So, too much choices. So don't give too much choices. You already know that's what you are doing. Reduce the choices and limit the choices to needs, not wants. If you're doing yourself a world of favor, you will also be doing the child a world of a favor. That's where the balance is. Because your follow up question is, where is the balance? The balance is, you already know that there's too much in the mix. So remove the too much and limit the choices to needs, not wants. Okay? There's another question here from a committee member. It says, have you ever set a boundary as a parent that you later regretted? And how did you repair that with your child? Hmm, That's a tough one. Okay, because it's like a direct question. Have I? Have me? Have I? Okay, let me see. Let me pick. Uh, I must have somewhere along the line. I must have, but I'm just trying to remember now which one. Because men, when the things backfire is when you not hear that. But that you said I should not um touch it, and the child is sitting down there. Something is happening to what you say you should not touch. But they say I should not touch it. Okay, I think the one that readily comes to my mind now is it's there are boundaries about devices, about personal devices, phones, tablets, laptops. You have no business with my phone or my laptop. So maybe I'm where the phone, I'm not where the phone is, and it's ringing. And in most cases, well, my phones are usually on like vibrate, and I might not hear it, and the child is there. And look, you come and you stay. I remember one particular time it was my mom that I do remember now. It was my mom that was calling, and that was a long time ago. And there were 8 mixed calls. I wouldn't name the child. I don't want to embarrass them. I don't. I came down. I was upstairs. Was We were downstairs. We were watching a program on the TV, and when I go down and looked at 8 missed calls, Grandma, why didn't you call? But Daddy said we should not touch your phone. Of course, the child is right. So what I would add to this, you know, question or this contribution from this community member now is learn how to put caveats or to put exemptions to certain boundaries. Okay? They could bring you the phone without answering the call. Yeah, let's look at that. If my phone rings and I'm not where the phone is, you could bring the phone to me. That way, you won't be putting anybody in trouble. You won't be putting yourself on some undue regret. Oh, maybe it's a very important call and the person didn't call back, and then is upset, whatever, business, whatever it is. When anytime my phone rings and I'm not there, please bring it to me wherever I am. Okay? That should happen. I am trying to do, of course, how did I repair that? Because that's they say, how did I repair that? Of course, that you said, okay, that's true. Sorry. You swallow the whatever other things you are going to say because the child is right. So the thing to do is apologize. for that first outburst. Why are you sitting here? My phone is. But that you said we should not touch your phone. Okay? Sorry. That's true. Apologize and move on. Okay? I'm trying to do things differently from how I was raised, but I don't know what healthy boundaries even look like. What healthy boundaries may or might look like to you might not be what they look like to your partner, your husband, your wife, or your children. So, the best way to know what healthy boundaries are is for all of everybody to contribute to them. I agree on that. Let it be what family members are comfortable with. Let it be what all you all have agreed on. The boundaries themselves, the consequences, the rewards. Discuss them. Agree on them. That makes them healthy because they are mutually set and instituted. Okay, so no one would feel, you know, done by when they get caught in the breakages of any of the items in the boundary because it might not even be. Look, we have in the promo material for this program, one of the flyers, the parents, two siblings, a young boy and a young girl, the girl beheld well, it's a device, a phone, whatever, and is probably saying to the boy, "But this is not time to use this." And the parents are stopping behind them, enjoying the scene, enjoying the discussion because somebody has remembered what you have all agreed on and is one now preaching on your behalf. It's no longer your business, so you enjoy, you have peace. So when you have created ownership, when there is ownership of the boundaries you've created for your family, it's healthy. Okay? Nobody will feel injured or nobody will feel um not appreciated or left out or singled out for punishment or favored or disfavored. Okay? If you follow the rules that you have all agreed on. And well, we still have a few more, but before we continue, we're going to do what we normally do. Let you see a video, okay? Maybe for we talk about things that it's not like reinventing the wheel, okay? But we also try to break things down to certain bits and pieces. Other people talk about the same things in similar ways and produce maybe some videos. So we look out for one or two videos that might uh, show you what you know we are referring. So please stay tuned. Don't go away. Let's see the video. 384, 85, 86, 87. Look at daddy. Look at daddy. Okay, you're all done. All done. Look. Look at daddy with your eyes. With your eyes. No throwing nuggets at Cat King. Say yes, sir. Okay? No throwing nuggets. Every time you throw nuggets, daddy gonna make you do squats. Do you understand? Stop throwing nuggets. Yes? Say yes, sir. All right, give me a hug, mama. Give me a hug. I love you. Mommy, what? You next? Yeah.
Did 86 squats, mama.
Welcome back. They're usually very short, the videos, okay? So what do you think about the video? it's explicit on itself, on its own. And once you make the effort and the habit of agreeing on things with your children, half of the job is done. You will find one of them becoming your spokesperson when the other ones don't maybe queue up to what you have agreed on. So it wouldn't be your point anymore. Anyway, one of a community member here said, "Does this mean I have to explain or justify every decision to my children?" That justification and explanation happen at the beginning when you sat and agreed. Of course, there are other things that it, it's not possible for you to put everything about life in your family boundaries as you set them. Things happen. Your work, your career, so many things, other things will happen. There are things you will take decision that you'll be. But if you remember, the important thing about the boundary issue is that you've already built a communication platform. You're already in a communication relationship with your children. So those other things also that happen that would affect them, that would impact on one area or the other of their lives, you then need to call another conference. Yes. Okay. You then need to say, guys, we need to, there's something that I need to ask you, about, or I need to bring to your notice. You are changing your career. Change your career would affect them one way or the other. So explain it. Explain your reason. They are your children. Remember, it's not just that you're telling them what to do, you're also telling them, showing them how to relate with others eventually. Okay? Okay, so you also taking your children through consensus building, okay, decision making, and not just be anywhere as a footmat in any environment. And in return, they're also learning that it's important to put other people into consideration when they're in a group. Okay? So it's not just they are my children, so it's what I tell them to do. Well, you can do that, yes. Ever wondered why everywhere in the world we go in have people who just want to tell others what to and not care about what those people think about because they have, well, authority. A lot of things will happen better in the world if there are those who would take things for granted. Of course, there would always be. There would always be measure. That's why the boundaries are there anyway. In the larger society, that's why the laws are there. Okay? Different societies have different ways of bringing people to falling. And in some parts of the world, the police will come and arrest you and handcuff you for everything. In some other parts of the world, nobody will bring handcuff for anything. You receive a letter in your mailbox, and that letter will have some figure in it that says fine. So when you keep paying $140, for instance, for parking your car in the wrong place over time, and you're paying it, and then you now sit down in a month and calculate how much you spent on tickets for parking wrong. Nobody will teach you to be mindful about why you park the car. No policing, no stress, no extra cost on the government about keeping about then going to human rights issues. No, you pay, it costs you. And I just really wonder why some of those countries where the people still feel that everything policemen must go and arrest people, lock them up for it's simple. They pay, they don't pay, something follows. Okay, fine. So the same thing, family members don't follow this is what's going to happen if you don't do, if this anybody, not if you, anyone, we agree here now. Has anybody committed anything now? No. Has anybody broken? No. Okay, what do I agree? One, you, okay, what do I agree over this? He says, what do I agree over this? Everybody is in agreement. Okay? So it's important that you discuss at the beginning. It's important you keep discussing. Once you begin to have that feeling that I am the father, I'm the, yeah, you are. You see, when you are in a mutual relationship, professional relationship with your children, there is no reason to puzzle. You don't need to exact authority over anything. Because as I said before, the children themselves will tell themselves, well, you know that daddy should not see you doing this. Or you know you shouldn't be doing this. It's not you talking. They bought into it. So they are speaking to themselves. But if you do not set the boundary, if you don't agree on them mutually, it's only coming from you. Everybody will be waiting to see, let's see what's going to happen. And what's going to happen could be anything. And that's not right. Okay? How do I know if my boundaries are too much structure and not enough connection, or vice versa? If when people are not, when you don't have peace, go back to check the boundaries. When you hear, but that's not how, you are not following the rules yourself by being fair and not being playing favoritism. Okay? It's not about this our family rules. You write them somewhere, you even do it a nice plaque, put it somewhere on the wall. It's about, you know, creating that enabling environment where people can follow those rules. If you make rules and then you create environment and make it impossible for people to follow the rules, that's your, yeah, how do you put it here? Uh, Too much structure. There's no connection. The connection is when individual members, outside of both of you partners, mother, father, well, the adults in home, when you are not the ones pointing things out to them, when they are the ones saying, but you know that, yes. So that way, the connection is working with the bridge, with the boundaries, okay, with the structure. But if it's just then every time it's like, okay, let's go to the wall, let's go and find out what the whatever say. You just put something there. If you all of you have to go back to go and be checking it, what does this say? But when when they are mutually putting them anywhere, I'm not saying it's wrong to put whatever you agreed on some document, plaque or whatever. It's fine, it's beautiful. But then when you have to go, when something happens, you have to go check that, it's not working. Yes, you have a structure, there's no connection. But when something happens, one of the family members, without having to go to review that document, says, well, but you already know this, they brought into it. So there's connection to the structure. Okay? When implementation happens, when adherence happens, the connection is working with the structures you put in place. When the opposite is the case, they have to go and check. It's not working. It's just some things put there. Okay. How do I respond to friends or relatives who say I'm being too soft because I don't spank or shout? Do you owe them any response? No. Well, to start with, my business here is you and your children. It's not your relatives. You and your children. Is that communication relationship between children? Is that bonding between you and your children? Once you, as a family, are happy with yourselves, others don't have to agree with you how you run your family. Okay? Spanking might work for some people, not spanking. There are children who, look, I have shared severally on this program that my dad never, not one day, even used one finger, not one day. But I swear I told my father. My mom, wow. The only difference is that, well, the thing is that you are dead, that didn't just bury you. That's in her own relationship. You were a dead person, not buried yet. When you go out of life. It was so nice that at some point we used to ask our aunts and auntie, uncles and aunts, please, uncle, I want to ask something. Yes? Is, is she our mother? Is she really her mother? But as we grew up, that changed to praying for her. That changed to praying for her. You should even sit with us and say, this is, well, there are sometimes, okay, what did we agree on? That not all, not in the not in the pattern and the manner that we are discussing this now, to say, sit with your children and agree. Once in a while, it might be okay. What did we say should happen? Once in a while, it's not the general. Now we're saying institute a general assembly. Oh, sure, times have changed. It does have changed, don't mean that your children must do or behave anyhow they choose. We've always decided on this program, bring your children up in accordance with your culture, with your tradition, with your family values. How does that happen? Set boundaries, using those things as building blocks for the boundaries. Okay? What happens when my child refuses to follow through on agreed consequences? How do I respond without escalating? Escalating to who? To start with. Who's escalating? What does escalating mean? Okay, well, I love the child up. I have seen parents who have done that. Doesn't make sense to go and lock your child up. You're opening that child up to some other doors that you don't want to know where they lead. And in most cases, you're hardening that child. What else? What else can you do? You locked me up the other time, so what? What else now? Okay? But let's come back to the point that why I went that out is to say escalating. Escalating to where? Is this issue here. By the time you start involving third parties in your relationship issues with your children, you've lost it. Except when we're talking about experts advice, nutritionists, physiotherapists, except for professional, hands on specific issue areas, not family, friends, church, pastor. No, you, the father, you are the bishop of that family. If you're a Christian, you're the bishop of that family. You have a Bible in your own. Read the Bible. Discuss the appropriate books of Bible, portion of Bible that addresses what the issue is. So let everybody have a lot. You believe in the same thing as a family. You are Christian. So discuss it. If you are Muslims, do the same thing. Whatever you practice, use. That's when we talk about your culture, your tradition, your family value. And of course, the legal codes of the country, of the society, of the environment in which you reside with your family. Okay? So, what are you escalating? If the child refuses to agree on the consequences, did the child agree the consequences? How did this come about the consequences? Okay, he said consequences on agreed, okay, you agreed on that. Have you seen where uh, the police stops a drunk and DUI driver driving under the influence? DUI, okay, driver. I don't know. I didn't stop. The important thing is there is a law. There's a rule that says you do not drive when you are under the influence, and there are consequences for that. There are not many people that they stop that they say you have a certain diagnose that you agree don't change nothing. The consequence is there. The consequence has to be. So at that point, ma, sir, daddy, mommy, at that point, you I'm sorry to say you have to enforce the consequence. And this is where the issue of what you check at consequence is important. Everybody has a need, personal need. Make your consequences the things that are personal to the children, to the family, each individual family member. Make the consequence things that are not food. When we are growing up, do whatever, commit whatever misdemeanor you eat. My mother was stab is when you finish eating and she will deal with you. You would there's no story of you will not eat today. No, oh wait. You would eat short, you would have forgotten you did anything wrong. She might even decide to serve you extra fish. So he just reluctant for. So don't go into the needs to say you are not going to get. No, don't go into that. Go into the personal freebies, that pocket money, viewing time, visiting time with friends, time to go play specific sports. Those things that the children like to do, build your consequences around them because they are not basic needs. Don't make your basic needs part of consequences for breaking rules or boundaries. So it becomes easier. Oh, the child is saying, I'm not going to. Fine. We agreed no pocket money for the next 2 months. In short, depending on the gravity of the misdemeanor, it's okay. There's no pocket money for the next 3 months. It's your money. It is your money. Yes, I'm your son, yes, but are you sure you're my son? Okay. I thought we also agreed on this that when anybody here. So if you're not saying you're not obeying, so what exactly am I doing? Okay, you want my money, but then you do not want to follow rules in this. That's not possible. So base the consequences on things you have control over that the children have need of, not the basic needs, not the universal needs, not the education, not the housing, not the feeding, not the clothing, okay, not the health. So it's recreation, things, buying extra things, not the basic things that they need, not school books, not any of the basic things they need to function. No. Okay. The easiest place is pocket money and leisure time. They'll feel it. You will not leave your room. I not leave my why okay, well, do what you have to do. You quickly go and wash the dishes and then I'll finish. Okay, well, thank you. Okay. How do I hold boundaries when I am also navigating financial stress, mental fatigue, or burnout? That's actually the time that your boundaries need to hold strong. That's when you will see the benefit of the boundaries you would have set much earlier, maybe when everything is okay. And then, of course, How do I hold boundaries? That's the operational, that's the active part of this question here. How do you hold boundaries? Discuss. Share. Don't be embarrassed by sharing your specific issues, financial, work, health, relationship. Yeah, sometimes with some people, maybe even between yourself. It depends on to what level, to what gravity. But when this is about when my finances, let your children know that you're changing the job, discuss it. We said it earlier. You're going to change the job, discuss it. It's going to take a while before this. You're moving from one location to the other, discuss it. It's going to affect them, their friends, their schools, their educational activities. Discuss. So once you made a habit of discussing, you would have set a tool for managing any kind of crisis because you bring it to the floor. You will be surprised at the encouragement or the kind of contribution that will come from your children. Okay? Wow, how time flies. Well, people, that is it for our show today on the Slow Parenting program on Nostalgia Media. My name is still Richie Adewusi. We're here every Wednesday, like that's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, US and Canada, and 7 p.m. West African time, including Nigeria. Please, please, please subscribe, support us. If you find this useful in any way, subscribe, share, invite others to join us and make contributions like the ones that are giving us the talking points which we have gone on to explain things in this program. Okay. You can also, you know, engage with us even when we are not live stream by going to make your contributions on our YouTube channel or other social media. So till we come your way again next week, Wednesday. Stay blessed. Bye bye and keep talking.